had missions where you would go in and shoot places and then just sort of ride around and do things. I mean, yeah, there are some bad parts in that game, but I wish they would have incorporated that a little bit more with Fallout 3. But, my opinion, take it for what it is. I saw somebody asking about the Warhammer mythos, and I actually do like it. I love Warhammer.
Yeah, the chat had me up for about 6 hours a couple of weeks ago, going through the whole 40k mythos. Oh, dear God.
I didn't really get that much into 40k. I'm more the straight fantasy version, but from what I know about 40k and, Rogue Trader and everything like that, it looks good.
It was trying. The hardest thing with the chat was trying to get through to them that there was no one race that could, destroy the rest. It's an ongoing game system, so if one of them achieves dominance, it kind of kills the game. It's not going to happen like that.
Yeah, like the thing about too with 40k is that there's no really kind of good benevolent race. They're all kind of dicks.
Everyone always says the Tau are the good guys, and it's like, yeah, the Tau are the good guys unless you say no to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're the benevolent ones that won't outright attack you, but what they might do is completely isolate your planet within their territory and starve your planet of any sort of commerce or trade until you agree to help them.
Mm-hmm. I think the Eldar might be the one exception in that they don't want to expand their empire, like everybody else.
Well, the Eldar are more about just making sure they stay alive at the expense of everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't mind, bringing the Empire into a war with the Orcs, as long as it means that the Orcs aren't going to go towards Eldar space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Eldar don't really have an empire so much as just, they want to survive, I guess. It is funny hearing people say of like, oh my god, Stark or Warhammer 40k stole the Zerg idea from StarCraft. The Tyranids are, basically Zerg. It's like, no, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
They were a huge inspiration for the Zerg.
I keep telling the birth of Warcraft story.
Oh?
Warcraft was a Games Workshop game until some genius at Games Workshop HQ said, video games aren't going to take off or be a major industry. We'll pull out of it. And Blizzard were like, well, we've done all this work, we've got all this stuff. Can we just rewrite the IP and release it as its own game? And Games Workshop says, sure, knock yourselves out.
Games Workshop's so poorly administrated. Like it's like they don't want to make money off of their products. Like there's been demand for a 40k movie for what, 30 years now?
The excuse to keep making is that if they can make a movie, great. But if they then make one that bombs, they lose an entire generation of fans who look at the movie and think, this sucks, we're not going to try it.
Linkara is still here. He's just scanning right now. There.
Then it's a self-defeating, or we're not going to do anything because it might go badly.
Yeah, well, it's because people used to say, well, you just made an entire range out of Lord of the Rings. You know that movies can help, and this, but it's like, oh god, just do it.
Yeah, now it's as a recent one, there is a 40k movie, but demand for one has been around forever.
The only problem is this 40k movie, the cast was brilliant, but the budget for it was non-existent.
Right.
So the CGI, and then, this is what everyone looks at these days, because the CGI sucks, then no one's giving it a chance.
Mm-hmm. And regardless, the diehard fans are still going to appreciate it regardless.
Yeah. Well, it's written by Dan Abnett. It was like...
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's an Abnett story.
He's a decent writer. He's done a lot of the flavor text or whatever for Warhammer
Yes.
series.
He's the one that was behind the entire. Is it Cypher's Kane? All
Hmm.
those books. Forget which others he did. Is it Cypher's Kane? Or is it Gaunt's Ghosts? One or two. If I remember correctly, the cast included Sean Pertwee, John Hurt, what's his name? Terence Stamp. Load of big name voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that's where all the budget went.
That's too bad. I just wish that, like, I don't see why the Warhammer Fantasy gets, like, their RPGs are so ass backwards in comparison to, Dark Heresy and Rogue Trader and all the other really good ones for 40K.
Yeah.
Since Fantasy Flight took over with 3rd edition, it's really sucked the life out of it.
Is that the actual tabletop RPG, or is it the actual, the board game? The board game.
Well, like, okay, so I actually did the videos about it, but basically, yeah, the $100 box set you get is not a board game, but it's got, like, dice and cards and everything else that's supposed to be tabletop based, but it's so completely over-engineered, and
Yeah.
it's garbage. Don't buy it. 2nd edition, I think, is probably the best out of all of them because they fixed a lot of the problems that were prevalent in 1st edition. They like streamlined it down and made it better, but they also split up all their content.
See, because I know the tabletop, the actual game, is up to 7th edition now, or is it 8th? Fantasy.
Oh, you mean the war game?
The actual war game, yeah.
The war game, I think, is on 9th.
No, it's not on 9th yet. I think it's 7th or 8th. I think it's 8th.
Well, maybe you're right. I thought it was at 9th. Yeah, the one that came out in July.
Yeah.
Last July.
That's 8th,
so it
yeah.
is 8th. Okay.
And 40k is on 5th edition.
Yeah, I play Wood Elves in the Warhammer Fantasy version.
Nice. I've had a Wood Elf army myself, but I just couldn't get along with them.
They're a different style of play.
Yeah.
They have no armor and no artillery, so you have to be careful with what you do. But they did fix it so that you can fire in volleys, which is awesome.
When I entered Warhammer, it was with 40k, and I played Space Wolves, so it were all okay. Charge, kill, Vikings in space.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't translate well to an elf army.
No.
So I've had to go with lizard men, chaos demons, which are actually a fairly new race at the end of 4th edition, end of 7th edition.
Chaos demons are broken.
They not so much in the new edition. They've been neutered a little bit. Their advantages they had aren't as overbearing now.
See, I actually went against a Chaos Demon army as the Wood Elves, and there's nothing you can do to stop them because you don't have cannons and you don't have like really powerful spellcasters. Just a group of the pink horrors or whatever technically are like a second level spellcaster, and they fire flaming shots, and they have multiple shots per unit.
Yeah, the Zinch army was one of the harshest. Now, with the new magic rules in the new edition, it really struggles. I played pure Khorne. No combat, no magic, no ranged at all. It was just pure combat.
Mm. See, I like using ranged, the Wood Elves really, really excel with ranged weapons, especially at close range. All their longbows become strength 4.
Yeah.
So you get the armor piercing in there, too. But, yeah, if you're going against... There was literally nothing I could do. I couldn't use my Tree Man because he's flammable. I couldn't use the Tree Kin because they, too, are flammable.
And your Dryads don't get a save against them because they've got that stupid thing where magic doesn't get a ward save.
Yeah, exactly. The Dryads, they were good, but they weren't strong enough to defeat the Pink Horrors. The Pink Horrors were better. And then anything that gets too close and gets into melee, I have no armor, so I'm going to get steamrolled over regardless of how many archers I've got. Yeah. I couldn't outmaneuver them either with Glade the Glade Riders. Basically, they were too expensive and they didn't pack enough punch.
Yeah, a unit of
Uh,
flamers will shred Glade Riders.
exactly. So it's like they have no armor, so
Yeah, Wood
so
Elves were
what are
always.
we supposed to do to defend against that? I don't know. Like I could make my entire army of archers. That
Judging
might
by the books that are out there now, I'm thinking Wood Elves won't be far off an update.
yeah, they're
Tomb
due.
Kings are next because their book just doesn't work in the current edition.
Well, Bretonia needs an update too.
Yeah, but literally, like Tomb King magic, for example, used to work in a completely different way, and now it physically doesn't. The mechanics of it doesn't operate in this edition.
Hmm. Yeah, it's too bad. Well, the Wood Elves casters do make sense. I mean, they're more diviners. They're not the battle the battle casters. But unless your enemy goes into trees, there's not much you can do.
Yeah. Come, come where we have an advantage, please. No,
Yeah.
I'll leave you in that tree line. Oh, go on.
Well, it is nice too to be able to tree singing actually really works well because you can move the trees and your units will move with it.
Yeah,
So you're constantly providing soft cover.
yeah,
So if anybody tries to rush you and they get in, they have to enter the forest, in which case you can have the forest attack them.
yeah.
So that's nice, but it also limits the amount of terrain you can pick at the beginning. Hills were nice because they could, you could get additional sight on it or whatever, additional firing ranks. But now it's basically, yeah, you just have to pick trees. You're better off picking trees.
It's gone back to the day. This is the game of massed infantry now.
Yeah. And in that
Since
regard,
Wood Elves have like
Lizardmen and Dark Elves are, I think they have the best infantry. So
Dark Elves are pretty good at the minute. Yeah.
they have the spears and they have heavy armor.
It's some of the best ones if you combine them with certain magics. Lizardmen and Skaven at the minute actually fairly good.
Skaven armies, if you know what you're doing with the Skaven, they can be really effective. I had a
That's who's doing an update soon. Dwarves. Because
I was
they're hard, but they're not being used. So Games Workshop wants to make them. Look, guys, they've got new toys.
So, I just got $40 free of Chinese food.
Oh.
yay!
Nice.
They fucked up our order with somebody who ordered $80 worth of fucking Chinese food.
Wow.
Whoopsie.
So, yeah, I got Chinese food.
Did you actually get what you ordered? As in,
No. In fact, no, not in the least.
So what did you order and what did you get?
We ordered General Tso's chicken, some shredded pork stuff, white rice, and dumplings, and we got a shit ton of white rice out the ass. Pork fried rice, sesame chicken, mugu gai pan. I'm sorry, pork mushu, not mugu gai pan. Some shrimp vegetable thing that's really spicy. What the fuck else? There's like crab rangoons. I was like, Jesus fuck, there's so much shit down there.
Yeah, that happened to us once where we got the order mixed up, but luckily the guys who ordered we got had ordered at least a couple of things that we'd ordered.
Yeah.
So some people got their meals.
Are you angry at this or?
No, I'm perfectly okay because when I called them back and I was like, hey, you mixed up the orders. They were like, oh, we can't take open food back. You won't keep? And I was like, all right.
Focus
Oh,
your
so you
attacks
paid
on the
for
thing
them?
in the back, because you can't. He'll just keep reviving those little bouncy things in the front.
Okay.
So you paid for the thing and you found out you got the wrong order. Then you were pissed off at first, then you found out it was worth more.
Well, no, it looked like it was worth more. I mean, it was 2 bags of stuff. So I wasn't pissed off at first. I was confused. I was like, what the fuck?